Hey, hold on. Discord. Okay.
Oh, let me turn on the audio too. Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back with another episode with Party Size Cycling. We're going to talk a little bit about quick bike stop food, which is I have some maps up here I could show, is regional, so I know it won't be universally understood when we talk about like the specifics of a couple places, but throw in the chat anyways what you guys are like, where you guys stop and stuff like that while we're chatting about it. But anyways, it's been a while because I had technical difficulties when we tried to do this. Now that's almost a month ago, I think.
Yeah. At this point, it's been a month, I think.
Yeah, and then you went on vacation, a family vacation.
Yep. I went up to Niagara Falls and Toronto-ish area. Went for a ride with Tom the Mountain, Tom the Montagna, who I think he's on here every once in a while, but he's a person from Nutmeg who does our Wednesday virtual rides, and it was like 20 minutes from where he lives. So I was like, hey, I gotta get 10 miles in because I'm still doing the 10 miles a day 250. So hit him up. He took me on a great ride, like really wide mountain bike trail thing that my son was able to do with us. So he was like really pumped to be able to ride with like, the adults and like still do some kind of, it had some steep things and some rocks and stuff like that, but it was like pretty wide and safe. So he had a really great time. So appreciate Tom taking me out and show me his area for you. It's pretty cool. Better than Toronto, I'll see.
So yeah, you've 252 days of your 10 miles. Wow.
Yeah, we're coming up on, it's going to be like T-minus 100 to the end of the year. I mean, technically it might even go beyond the end of the year because there's still 8 people left. So I don't know what happens when we get to the end of the year if there's still people in. I don't know if we split it out. The person who's started running it, I don't think he expected anybody to go this long, so he's sort of been absent. Like it's just us keeping it going, checking in with each other. But we'll see.
Dave, real quick, would you be able to grab my headphones off my desk upstairs? I forgot. Yeah, so I guess your voice, Andrew, is coming back through my mic, and it's echoing really bad for everyone because I always, in my freak out to get everything working, I thought I forgot about the little things. Anyways, yeah, we'll fix it in a second, guys. So yeah, that's amazing though. I love that you've pulled this off. It's funny. I think I might have referenced this to you once, but because I know you're vegan, right?
Yeah.
So when I was in college, me and my roommate and my high school buddy who all went to school together, we were looking at a pamphlet about veganism, and I didn't want to go that far, especially in 1997. But I was like, I was like, let's see who could go the longest being vegetarian. And the joke when I was still completely vegetarian was funny because I'd be like, well, I won because I'm at like year 6, year 7, year 8, because we were thinking like a semester, a month. But yeah, I went completely vegetarian for 7 years, and I still eat completely vegetarian at home. But when I eat out, I eat whatever. So I would never call myself anything. But yeah.
It'll come up later. There's some things I'm lax on outside the house, such as bread and I don't know. Just sometimes I don't. I don't want to be that person to be like, is there any milk in the bread? Because a lot of people weirdly put milk in bread for a lot of reasons. Some reasons. But
my buddy Greg's like that
because outside the house is vegan. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I don't become all talk about Sheetz.
Yeah, my buddy Greg's like that because he's like, some bagels have like egg wash on them, and it's like, am I gonna ask every time if they've used an egg wash on their bagel? And the poor 16-year-old behind the counter has no idea.
No idea. Yeah, I think you and I talked about this on the very first time I was on your show, but I make bagels fairly routinely, and I don't know if that's something that's done other places in the country or if that, but like around here, at least in New Jersey and New York, I don't think egg wash on the bagel, like the boiling is what gets it that sheen. It's not egg wash. So I don't know if that's something that is done elsewhere or not, but
it might be done a cheap way to make them. Yeah.
Toronto bagels suck though. Sorry to anybody from the greater Toronto area, but I don't think I had a good piece of bread in that entire trip.
Really?
Yeah, and that was a shame because I know Montreal is really well known for bagels.
They're famous,
I was hoping there was some like spillover, into the Ottawa area, but I guess the old Frenchies are keeping that one pretty close to the the chest. They're not sharing the recipes.
I did see at least 2 Toronto people in here. So yeah,
Okay.
if you guys want to attempt to defend your bagel, Dimitri's in
Sure.
here. Yeah.
I had something they called Roman pizza, which we call tomato pie around here when I was in Hamilton, Ontario with Tom. And that was really good, though. That was the exception. But like we got bagels from a place that looked like it was fancy. They had like bulls and stuff like that. And it was not good. But
I'm
I
curious,
digress.
is this just your like I feel like I like good bagels and I get some around here too, but I'm wondering, is this like your proximity to New York? You just have to be uppity about like that you're on an extreme
Yeah,
level about
even
bagels.
New Jersey. I mean, New Jersey gets the good spillover, and I
Yeah.
make them at home, so I know it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Like mine are pretty good quality bagels, even for making it at home. They're a little crispy on the bottom because I don't have like they want to go into bagel talk for a second. So they usually cook it on like a piece of wood with like burlap over it, and that prevents it from like overcooking on the bottom. And then so they do that, and then they flip it over and then let it cook on the other side. And that's how they get like a nice even thing. But the boil is what gets it the nice sheen, a little blistering, and all that good stuff. I think really, my guess is the places that don't have good bagels are just not letting them cold ferment, which is when I make bagels, I got to make them the day before because they got to sit in the fridge for I like to do at least 12 hours. I've gone up to 24 before then I bake them, and that really gets it like lets the alcohol develop and all those good flavors.
It's like making real good pizza dough, Dave.
Yeah,
real
exactly.
good pizza
You
places
should not be
make the dough.
making pizza dough and then immediately making pizza. It should take you a day at least.
I have Bike Breath is in here, by the way, talking about
Oh, man.
Montreal bagels. But I like
I love talking shit on Ottawa. Sorry, bud.
yeah, no, but he's like, yeah, but Montreal is known for him, and I've watched TV shows on it, and that was one of the places me and Aaron were going to go to ride bikes before the pandemic hit. We had like our books and everything, and we knew the bagel places we were going to be going to in the Montreal and Quebec City area. But yeah,
we did get my kid some Timbits though, so we could have some comparison for Dunkin' Donuts Munchkins, and Timo's coffee is pretty good. There's not much else I can eat there, but we got it before we went to their public transportation system. So we were saying about 40 minutes outside of Toronto because we had 3 bikes with us because I had to do riding every day and I feel like doing that in the city. So we stayed in, I didn't realize it's a pretty pinky out town called Oakville. It was really funny. Our Airbnb is like dumpy little house, but all the houses around it were like these palatial lake houses. But so I live about the same distance from New York as I was staying from Toronto. So it was a really interesting comparison for the public transportation. And we were able to take the bus around town to dinner and stuff like that. So we could grab some beers and not have to worry about driving. We could pretty much just show up and knew that there was going to be a train coming within a half hour that would take us to Toronto or get us back to where we were going. And we don't have that at all where I live. And I'm about 45 minutes outside. I get a train once every 2 hours, no train on the weekends. So public transportation wise, they're doing a lot better than I feel like the greater New York area is, which was nice.
Interesting. Because isn't that the area that Not Just Bikes is from and always complains about?
Yes,
Like part of the reason he moved to Europe?
Crap on it a lot, yeah. But it's better than the New York train system, and except as a dumpster fire right now since the cuts. So it's better than whatever I'm taking around here. The one thing I also will say is the signage for trails was wanted because I wasn't like loading any routes. We were just like kind of following bike paths, and they would end, and then it was part of like a bigger thing that I kept trying to follow the Great Lakes Trail or something like that. But at one point, like there was a sign that said, "Okay, go this way," and then there stopped being signs, and I turned around in one way because I could see like a bike path at the end of it, and like turned around and saw there was a sign pointing the other way for the thing. I was like, there was no what? So unless that was like the end of it, but then after we kept riding down that path and got back on the road, because eventually just stopped, and then we had to find our way back to a road. And then we saw a sign for that trail again. So we're like, somehow we followed it, but there was no sign. It was a mess. And then over by Niagara Falls, there's a bike path there, which was not much better, to be honest. So the signage wasn't great. If you're ever going to ride in that area, highly recommend making sure you get routes, because it wasn't as easy to just like follow. But I will say, like, drivers were a little bit more courteous. We were on the pretty busy roads that didn't have bike lanes, and everybody was, because we were afraid to do it at first because I have a 9-year-old with me. But we noticed that there were a lot of other people biking on the street, and the cars were giving them all pretty wide berth. So we're like, all right, let's do it. And then so we had a 4 mile, like just shot down the straight, like 2-lane road, and everybody got over in the other lane for us. So for what it's worth, Oakville drivers were nicer than the New Jersey drivers, and that's my biking in Ottawa stories. So that's all I got.
New Jersey drivers, that's a low bar for people being nice, though, right? I mean, just having to have it's because it's weird because in New York City, drivers defer to bikes so much because a car is the worst way to get around New York City.
Yeah.
And if you're in a car, you're the least. But people who are going to New York from New Jersey, I find that's where it's, God, I feel like I'm going to get run over in my car. Like even driving, like I feel like I'm going to get smashed into. So and
now that school started, there's already been stories of a couple people, like I think one in Maplewood or Westfield, was it? One of those towns. A family like already got hit after school, like coming home. So it's getting bad. Philly's had a big protest though, because another person I think got killed in the bike lane. So they had a big protest where they rode. I don't know where to, but like I think maybe City Hall or the art museum, and so rallying for like better, protected bike lanes. So they're doing a lot, but I don't know. It's still pretty rough down there.
Well,
that's vacation.
Yeah.
So how was I know you made a video about it, but how did the Sheetsery go?
So I can't blame everything on Sheetz because I did have a couple drinks the night before the Sheetsery. But for anyone who doesn't know, my buddy Woody puts on this century ride that he calls the Sheetsery because there's 3 Sheetz stops along the way, and those are the stops. And for me, that works out perfect because I'm like someone who will bonk after like 35 miles. So it's like they space it out, they break it up. It's kind of great. He actually reaches out to Sheetz, and their marketing team gets back and gives out gift cards. So he gives them away to some people for, randomly or for whatever. So cool concept, whatever. Woody is Roach Clips, by the way, because I know some of you knows the brand Roach Clips. But Roach Clips. Yeah. Anyways, so like this year, like it was mostly like they're not like all roadies all the time, but they were on road bikes and they were in full kit. And we hung on with those guys for like, I don't know, maybe 20 miles. And then it was like, all right, I don't want to look at someone's butt for the next 80 miles and ride as hard as I can, because the draft in those kind of things is amazing. Like I was able to ride 2-3 miles an hour faster than I should be able to at the back of that group. But me and Ben and my buddy Aaron kind of broke off, and we're still able to catch them at the 3 Sheetz stops. But after the 2, so I was really hungry in the morning. I didn't eat a good breakfast because we started early. So I ate like a full made to order Sheetz thing. And that's what you're supposed to do. Get made to order food, MTO. If you guys don't know Sheetz lingo, you order on a touch screen. It's the only way to order. Your food comes up, they call your number. Had a big old burrito and all that. Had like something I normally wouldn't drink, like a Dr. Pepper. But everything went good. We were riding fast. Where someone super chatted.
Couch super chatted $4.99. I picked up my first pair of Renee Hair-C huge game changer wonderful tires.
Nice. Got someone loving Renee Hair's tires comment. Thanks, Couch. Yeah, appreciate it. But so we were heading to the 3rd Sheetz, and all of a sudden my stomach just turned over, and we started to get into like suburban areas, and I'm like, oh man, because we were in like the country before where I could, go like 4 cornrows deep or whatever. And now I'm in a place where I'm like, oh no, like, Sheetz. So there was a big property that had like a little wooded section, and I'm riding with Ben and Aaron, and we were riding with 2 other people at this point too that we had met and kind of knew tangentially. And all of a sudden, I guess they told me later, they turned around like, where's Tim? I went right through the ditch, right into the woods, like with like a pants off situation. like this is either now or it's in my pants. So yeah. So the Sheetsery, so I had to get cleaned up at the 3rd Sheetz, and I still finished the ride strong. But yeah, that's what.
I feel like that's on brand with all their, like putting SH in front. I don't know if they do that as much anymore. I feel like when I was in college, it was everything.
Schmuffins.
Yeah. We used to call it getting schmass, gas, gas the Sheetz.
we do the same thing. Like when we're going to stop at Sheetz, we like we had ones that they never would have. Like, oh, you're gonna get a schmog or whatever. You can't stop. Like,
Yeah. There was I remember there was one time I went in there and there was like a rack that was completely empty, but it said eat smart.
Pudgy
I'm
Bagel
guessing it probably had
became a
food and
member.
stuff like that, but there was nothing on it, so I guess
54 months
it's
of
not like my
membership.
personal account forever
Randy's
ago, but I
the
like just like
dynamic
took
choice
pictures. Like,
Tim
guess we're all eating
Super
stupid
Shatty's
today.
emoji.
Fun fact though, I did my internship in college in Altoona, which is the headquarters for Sheetz, and so they came around all the business. I was working at a CBS affiliate at the time, and they came around to like the local business. We were right down the road from them, and like gave out like coupons to like go try the new MTO. So if you remember way back in like 2000, well, it would have been like 2000 and pre-2004.
This would be before we had Sheetz, so I wouldn't remember.
You get sandwiches, you get some other stuff, but this was like they were launching the thing with like fried foods and salads, and it probably wasn't pizza at the time, but it was like you get like a lot more stuff, and so we were like their soft opening for that. So we got to be the first people to try the new MTO, which was exciting at the time, and still headquartered in Altoona. It's a family run business. Still the Sheetz brothers all own it.
Well, let me tell you my horrible Altoona story, because my brother met a woman on vacation and kept in touch with her for a little while, and she was from Altoona. And my younger sister, because we were pretty young at the time, says, "What's Altoona?" And my dad says, "It's the brother of Charlie Tuna." And I've never been able to forget that awful dad joke, because now those are the kind of things that come out of my mouth. So, yeah. We got another super chat.
Not elsewhere, super chat $2. Don't you hate pants?
I hated Sheetz. I don't think there was anything else really around.
Jeans emoji.
A lot
Fire
when I had that
emoji.
internship.
Jeans emoji. Fire
it was
emoji.
a 45-minute drive. It was an unpaid internship.
Fire emoji.
I ran out of money halfway through. At one point, I remember having to tell my boss, be like, I can either come in shorts and a t-shirt, or I can work from the state college office, because I have $0 to get to the 45-minute drive tomorrow. And he said, well, we were planning on giving this to the end, but like he handed me like $100 in Sheetz gift cards. It's like good timing. Thank you. I remember after that was like for most summer, I had to go home for a little while because we were going like a family vacation. And I remember being so incredibly broke. And like I used to work at a Taco Bell. I think I went to Taco Bell, and like I'm not a proud moment, like just like went to somebody that I used to work with, was like, I have $0. Can you just like give me something? So I think they gave me their employee meal for the day. I was like, thank you so much. I literally have no money, and I think I was negative 20 in my checking account at that time.
Speaking of, so Woody and the Sheetzery last weekend or 2 weekends ago, they did a 200K Taco Bell ride. So 4 Taco Bells, and like Mark, the guy who made the route for the Sheetzery, which by the way was an awesome route. The only parts of the route that weren't great was when you approached and left Sheetz, because they're obviously going to be
the highway.
Yeah. But you usually have to cross over highways anyways. It was a beautiful country road route. It was awesome. So they made one that was 200K. So was that 140 miles, 160 miles, whatever?
We got to ask where's Bike Breath with the kilometers.
Yeah. Anyways, so, and they went to 4 Taco Bells, and they like had messaged me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not. 140 miles with road. I'm going to be riding alone because I'm not going to hang with the roadies, and then I don't need 4 Taco Bell stops in 140 miles out. I'm going to pass on this one. So.
Taco Bell is one of the few fast food places I can eat at, though. So I would, out of all if there was a McDonald's one, I would certainly not be able to do.
Yeah,
but Taco
when
Bell
I was veggie, when they used to have the 7-layer burritos and stuff, those were. Or Nacho Bel Grande, no meat. That was always a great option too.
You can substitute beans for beef on anything for free. But now they have like the specific veggie menu, so they actually put real black beans and stuff. So it's not just big old pile of slop, which is nice.
Bike Breath said 124 miles. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I know 10 miles was 16.9 kilometers. And I had to figure out, our car has like a digital dashboard, so it doesn't like regular speedometers usually have the kilometers and small underneath than for American cars. It's like, shoot, these. So we had to like go into the manual for our car and figure out how to like change it over to kilometers, because it was fine on the highway, because when you first got on, it said a sign that was like 100 kilometers an hour is 60 miles an hour. Like, cool. But then as soon as we got off the highway, like, I have no clue how fast 50 kilometers an hour is. So it really became a desperate move to like figure that out. And we got it done.
Yeah, it's funny because I was actually just photographing for Catholic high school over the weekend, the cross country meet. But I ran cross country. So like I always knew that. So that conversion usually does stay in my head. And I'm surprised I couldn't like pull that faster, but yeah. So because of 5K.
For meters to feet, I usually think I just multiply it by 3, and I know that usually overestimates it, but like occasionally find a route or something like that that's like, oh, it's 100 meters of climbing, and like I have no idea what that means. So that's usually pretty usually more, but like a decent estimate. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like freedom units, you know, they don't make the most sense, but they just remind me of the people who died that gave this right to me.
What's that Nate Bargatze sketch that was on Saturday Night Live? Is like, it's that one day we could use our own system of weird numbers, but sometimes, but not for soda or. All right. So I think we've covered Sheetz a little bit. You want to start to get into the hot topic here?
Yeah. So let me preface you. So like just with that, I'll let you go crazy, and then if I have a rebuttal, I will. But so I've been to Wawa. The funny thing is I've been there 3 times, and it's always been the same one, coincidentally. I've only been, and so it's like right past the Delaware Water Gap area of so like, what is it, the PA, and I don't know, it's like the Poconos area. And so on our way out to Gunk's Not Dead, we stopped and we didn't know what it was, and then we like ordered them, and we're like, oh wow, this is like their version of Sheetz, I guess, because Wawa sounds like I don't know, like I don't know. Wawa sounds like some kind of foreign name. It doesn't sound like a.
I was doing some research ahead of time. The only thing I could find that is a reference or that uses that term is in Song of Hiawatha. Apparently, it has the term Wawa. I don't know if that's the etymology of why the stores are called Wawa, but that is the only other thing that I could find that reference the term Wawa, other than the stores.
Yeah. So then on the way back, I was with it was me and Dylan, who's always in the chat from Columbus. And we were like, we need to get food. And then we were like, what? Let's go here. And we got off the exit. I'm like, this is the Wawa we stopped at the way out. And so then just about 2 weeks ago, I'm working with a video crew. I'm just freelancing. And we're coming back from Long Island when I passed through like the New York area. And I'm looking at the map, and we're trying to find a pilot or a TNA, as everyone calls it. And I'm like, where's a travel center? Then I'm like, oh, there's one of these Wawa places up here. They have like kind of Sheetz MTO, like, and as soon as we got off and I saw the buildings, I'm like, this is the same Wawa. This is the only one I've ever been to.
One aside before we get into the topic then that's very similar to that, but like pretty crazy also. Tim Burke, Miggy, and I drove down to Florida and back for Orange Blossom Gravel. We only ate 2 meals in the road. We were like really just cannonball run. We were stopping at gas stations for food and stuff like that. But the only time we like stopped and took a break and sat down on the way down was we stopped at a Chipotle in somewhere Virginia. We were coming back and it's 4 a.m. We had like kept finding stuff that was closed. We were trying to find other stuff. And then we finally gave up. And like there was a Denny's, 24-hour Denny's that we pulled off. This is the exact same exit that we pulled off to eat at on the way down. So over a 1,000-mile trip in each direction, we stopped at the exact same exit. Different place, but the exact same stop. And it didn't. Also at that stop was the world's largest Arby's, which was a sight to behold. It's like a cabin. It like looks like a full sit-down menu, like restaurant with like wood cabin-y like exterior and like outdoor seating and all sorts of neat stuff. But
did they have the big hat light up sign?
They had the really old Arby's logo. And like a flash bulb type of design thing. So like, it was
we had
and
one
then
of those.
I looked up when we got down to Florida and was like, oh yeah, apparently that is the world's largest Arby's.
We had one of those, and they
Arby's
just
has zero vegan food, though, so I have not ate there in quite a
Yeah.
while.
they rebuilt that our Arby's not too long ago, the one that is like kind of where I've been forever, and they had one of those signs, and I could not believe they took it down. I'm like, I
Huh.
understand like marketing and branding, but like talk about
Cracker
like
Barrel all over again. We need
yeah, I
to
know, yeah,
start-
I know. Before we go on, we'll go to Wawa. Dave, would you grab me another beer? And also, I have a set of over headphones. Yeah, on my next to my rocking chair in my bedroom. They're hanging on the little side table if you want them.
Oh, speaking of beers,
to
the
our
Dagger that does a bunch of the art for party size cycling and Spindat and a bunch of other stuff. So he works for a brewery called Sea Change Brewery, but that's out in Alberta. When I was heading up there, I know they can't ship stuff over, so I've never been able to order it or try it. It's like, hey, is there anywhere like in that area that I can get it? Apparently, it literally just signed a deal with like their I'm gonna butcher it, but the LBO or liquor LCBO, which is their like liquor control board thing. So I was able to go in and I was able to find the Sea Change beers and finally have the beers that Mitchie drew a lot of the logos for, which was kind of a cool thing, even though, it's not really from that area. We drink a lot of other good beer, but that was a nice little like, hey, make sure we grab some of those. Cool. But so Wawa. So Wawa sucks. I'm just gonna like put it out there. We have two main things that are like push button ordering things around here. We have Wawa and we have Quick Checks, and I have always thought Wawa was far inferior. I might have to put asterisks on that because again, I can only have the vegan stuff, so I'm basically I'm like the veggie sub mainly, and then like the peripheral things around it. But the veggie sub used to have the ability to add like a hot pepper relish, which was pretty good. They did away with that. The bread used to be like pretty serviceable. I feel like in the last 10 years, Wawa has, I don't know where they're getting the bread from or whether they switched it, but I feel like the bread has just been awful. And then like their sizes are dumb. It's like, they have their own 10-inch and shorty, the sizes, and like it's only a 10-inch sub, which come on, give me the extra 2 inches. I'm a big guy. So
I bet you've said that a lot, huh? Sorry.
No, it's all good. I feel like also the soda case, which is the other thing that I'm usually on the hunt for. I had this conversation with Steve Ayers all the time. I am a big fan of the Diet Coke Tallboy that you can get in store. At least up here at the Wawas in New Jersey, they have them, but not Diet Coke. So I'm like usually go over there, and every time I check, and every time I'm disappointed deeply. Versus all the other places don't. So Quick Check is the other local one. I would put Quick Check above Wawa. Quick Check has a 12-inch veggie sub. They don't have the hot pepper relish, but neither does Wawa anymore. But it's like better. I feel like the bread is infinitely better. The coffee is also much better than Wawa coffee. Wawa coffee is garbage in my opinion. The Wawa tea coolers also, that's the other thing people go nuts for. Sucks.
Tea cooler? What's tea cooler? Cooler of tea that you would like. They're making. They're pretending like they're making
Wawa
tea.
Tea cooler. It's just iced tea. I don't know why they call it Wawa tea cooler. It's just like their thing. Because it must be like a Philly thing. Because again, Wawa is more of like a Philly chain. Started in that general area and then it's like expanded from Philly.
Yeah, I'll pull the map.
In my experience, I'm going to piss a lot of people off. Most things from Philly suck. Like, so let's just get that out of the way. So it's already got a string against it.
That's a hot take right there.
Right there. From the jump. If it comes from Philly, other than like Keystone Bicycle Company or like a couple of the friends that make stuff down in Philly, strike against you already. Anyway, so that's why it's hoagies and not sandwiches or subs, right? It's like that's a Philly thing. And so the tea cooler must also be Quick Check used to have Turkey Hill iced tea, which is the best. They don't anymore, which is annoying. Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe because Turkey Hill started opening their own. And so if you go out to I start seeing around Allentown area, they'll have their version of a gas station. It's Turkey Hills. But they don't have like an MTO or anything like that. It's pretty bare bones. So that's not good. The coffee's not good. Their pretzels are okay. I'm a big pretzel person because again, that's one of the usually things I can like grab, but like they're nothing special, in my opinion. Wawa's also, at least in New Jersey, don't ever have anywhere to sit down. In fact, there's a joke in like Philly that they always eat it off of the garbage can because they have those same like really big domed garbage cans with a flat top. So they use the flat top of the garbage can outside the door as their table, and they eat off of the garbage can, which is heathenish. Quick Checks will usually have a spot inside. Most of them have a spot inside.
Sheetz do too. Sheetz usually have outdoor seating.
Sheetz, yeah, absolutely. Down in Florida, though, I will say, so going down to Florida to do the Orange Wawa special and also to visit my parents a few times, Wawa's down south have the outdoor seating very similar to Sheetz, which was a nice, nice thing for down there, I guess, because the weather is good. So maybe they do.
Well, so Ohio's weather is shit most of the year, and the Sheetz here have outdoor seating at almost every one I've ever been to.
Yeah, so not an excuse. Yeah. Maybe just they're old. Maybe at some point they'll like revamp them in the Florida style, but for right now they usually do not have outdoor and it's not even just outdoor. They don't have seating inside either. So
yeah, I've been to Wawa 3 times, but it's been the same one, so I don't have a diverse experience. Yeah,
they're pretty ubiquitous already. And then their registers are dumb because they're in a big circle, which is always annoying because you don't know which line you're standing in. And then they have like one self-service one, which anybody under the age of 45, 50 probably wants to use self-service unless they're buying tobacco products. So like, I don't understand why haven't you made all of them and why are you having them in a circle? It doesn't like you're over here and you have to walk all the way back around with that person. They're like, oh, I can take you over here. Or then like sometimes you got to go around to the front. So then you're confused whether you're staying in the line for this person or the one over here. Makes no sense. Just an organizational mess over there with Wawa.
I will agree with that because there's like the one I've been to. There's like the horseshoe. There's 2 registers, but yeah, that area is separate. But I don't think Sheetz does that any better because you have to go to like an MTO screen. You don't pay there. You then have to go. Why do they do that?
Because they want you to buy other stuff, Tim. Come on. We live in late stage capitalism. They want you to go walk through the store and get some chips and a drink.
Why do they think that works though? Because then I'm just pissed.
Fair enough.
I know they've done the studies and they're like their AI like systems, like there will be Sheetz robots that like force food in my mouth at some point. I know this. But right now, like I just get mad and I'm like, I just want to leave. Like I don't understand like that. Why are you doubling? Why can't the touchscreen just do everything? Come, like that's not a hardware limitation.
Yeah. I agree.
Anyways.
No. You're right. That's all of them. But I feel like that's across the board. They're all like
okay.
And not just Sheetz. I mean, like I feel like I don't think I've ever gone to like an MTO type place where you've been able to pay at the same place where you order the food. They gotta get they just don't have the technology, I guess. I don't know.
No, they have the time. They have don't even justify that. They have that screen can do both. You know it can. You know that computer can do both. I've got 3 monitors going right now and 2 cameras and multiple mics. That they are a multi-billion-dollar corporate. They can definitely program that screen to do both.
So people, I've been reading the comments. Turkey Hill, Lancaster. That's right. That's more of a like Amish country thing, and then that like spreads throughout like central PA, I guess, or south central PA, rather, because I don't see them. Like I went to school in State College, I don't remember coming across them. So unless the convenience landscape in central Pennsylvania has changed, I think that's still squarely Sheetz and Unimart, which is you ever been to a Unimart?
No.
Nothing fancy, no MTO, no thing. It's just like your corner store type thing. Sometimes they have like the ones that I've been to have like maybe like 1 pump for gas on each side. Like certainly not like a big, sprawling plaza of fuel and culinary delights. But they have one thing going for them, which speaking of being a broke college person, I survived quite a few end of months before meal cards got refilled and such, eating something called the Big Ugly, which is, and as a cyclist, and I can eat it now, but I feel like it would be pretty good because it's a very portable food object. I would never call it. It's basically a cheeseburger mixed up, so it's got like beef and cheese just like formed into a hot dog, and then that goes on a hot dog bun, and then all your fixins. So you basically get a nice little hot dog, you take it out, but it's a hamburger, and I prefer hamburgers when I was not vegan way over hot dogs. So like this was a nice thing, and they were fairly cheap. I think they were like $2. So that was come off of a roller. Get the Big Ugly. The Big Ugly special, I think, sometimes came with a fountain drink. I also had roommates that worked at the Unimarts. At the end of the night, they would pull the Big Uglies off of the roller. Couldn't take the buns because they would count the buns. So just bring home a shopping bag full of just loose fucking Big Uglies. The rollers at the end of the night.
You had a raw dog, the Big Ugly. Yeah.
So cannot tell you many drunk evenings, just like no bun, just like a little some ketchup on the Big Ugly, just fucking raw dog in that. So that's Unimarts. And I think so. I've got to imagine Turkey Hill stops where Unimart starts. Unimart is a pretty small. I don't think I've seen them outside of like that, like Altoona, Johnstown State College corridor there along that area. But yeah, so Wawa, in my opinion, you're putting yourself in the league, right? So you're putting yourself in that tier with the touchscreen ordering establishments. If you don't have a touchscreen, I can't really fault you for not having great food. You don't have that. You don't have the infrastructure back there to really, you got a hot dog roller, your 7-Elevens, your Unimarts, your those types of things, your Turkey Hills, like that's a different class of establishment. So I think Wawa is by far the worst I've had with touchscreen ordering. Quick check, as we discussed, being second. Sheetz, I feel like, is the pinnacle of touchscreen ordering, especially now. Very wide menu, a lot of vegetarian options, with an asterisk of I've never actually looked to see if the bread there is vegan, especially the pretzel roll. So I'm a big pretzel roll guy, and they have pretzel roll and everything. Even way back before they had the new MTO, I have never looked to see if the pretzel roll is vegan because it would crush my heart if it wasn't. If I knew it wasn't. So a nice veggie sub. You get, like, if you order the whole, you get basically 2 small ones. You can eat one then, take the other one with you, pack it in the bag, take it with you. They got tots and burritos, so you can make like a tater tot burrito, which I've done in a pinch, and that is a pretty hearty meal. If the veggie sub is a nice like in between, like the tater tot burrito is a nice solid full meal.
By the way, one of the options on the burrito is like something dust, and I've never known what that means. Have you ever noticed this on Sheetz?
I've never noticed the dust.
So do you know about dust?
Never tried.
You know that dust?
I put it on, knock the dust off that. Anyway,
Hey, you ain't on that dust?
Anyone's seen Friday, but yeah. But yeah, so the burrito I got, like, it had some kind of, it was early, like I said, I wasn't with it yet, but it had some, this one probably was not vegan. I think like the one I picked was like Cool Ranch Dust. But yeah, there's a dust option.
That's I feel like I'd have to order it, but I'm probably not vegan. But Cool Ranch Dust, okay, I'll keep an eye out for that.
Okay, yeah, just look next time you're.
I might have to try just to.
But you said Angel Dust. No, definitely not Angel Dust.
But in addition to dust, you got your onion petals. You can add like fried pickles. Again, probably not vegan, but if I checked, again, it would break my heart. So it's vegan enough. It's not meat. Sure, there's some egg in that batter, but you can get like deep fried pickles, deep fried onions, put on a veggie sub, which really just elevates it. You know what I mean? Like from that kind of a meal to like that's a meal then at that point. You're putting fried food in something that's something New Jersey people love. Have you ever had a fat sandwich, Tim?
A what?
Fat sandwich? That is a New Jersey specialty. So down by Rutgers, was just a parking lot that was collectively referred to as the grease trucks, and there were several of them. And basically, it was just a weird amalgamation of different fried foods just stuffed into a sub roll. So it'd be like a fat Daryl, which is like chicken fingers, mozzarella sticks, and like California stuff, I think, if I'm memory serving correct. So it's just like fried food stuffed into a sandwich and like weird combinations of said fried food. There was one place that then was inside that was called Are You Hungry? Like Rutgers University, Are You Hungry? Then started opening up in other colleges. They came to Penn State, and within 6 months, became the #1 late night restaurant in Penn State, knocking off places that had been late night establishments in a college town for, at that point, probably 50 years, right? Like it is a thing to behold. But so yeah, like you add some fried pickles and some fried onions, you're basically getting a fat sandwich now at a Sheetz. You got lots of options. They have both Coke and Pepsi at the fountain. I personally have no preference, but I know there's a lot of people that have very strong soda
People are
preferences.
crazy about it. Yeah,
They are. Some people will not like you. Got
it's weird to me because when it comes to fountain, I don't really care that much. When it comes to canned, I am like strongly preferenced, and like
what is your preference?
Pepsi, and people hate that. People are like, I'm
don't
in the
know.
minority. Like, but Coke like coats your teeth and has a weird like aftertaste, and Pepsi is sweet and doesn't coat your teeth. And so like, I mean, if I was going to pick anything,
Are you referring to a Coke heavy and Pepsi heavy?
Yeah. Like I don't fuck with diet or caffeine free.
Okay.
If I'm like going, like I don't drink pop. Like I don't, like I never. Well, pop is what we call it in Ohio. but I don't drink soda, pop, like anything. But if I'm going to like be somewhere, I'm on a long bike ride and I'm going to get something, my choice is going to be Dr. Pepper. You know, head and shoulders above everything. But if the only choice was Coke or Pepsi in a bottle or a can, it would definitely be Pepsi. So.
Cool.
I had a girlfriend who was appalled when she found that out. We used to watch those restoration shows like that History Channel was doing forever. And we were watching like one, like she loved like the Pepsi logo and the blue, like and all that stuff. Cause it's just more rare than the red and the Coke stuff. And then one day she had never realized that I actually liked Pepsi better. It wasn't just about like this restoration show. And she was like offended. She's like, how have I been dating you for 5 years? Like
some people there's a hardcore podcast in Hardlore and they are like, they won't go to places that serve Pepsi type of thing. Like I am a diet soda regular drinker, but like on a bike thing is different, right? So like if we're talking about bike snacks though, definitely like a Coke or a Pepsi heavy is the way to go because you need to get those calories in. At that point, I probably would say I do prefer Coke in a can. I would say though that I prefer a can or fountain or bottle. Bottle sucks in my opinion.
Bottles are awful. Plastic bottles suck.
But plus plastic, right? So the can is easily packable. It's a bit more easy to like get, 12-ounce can versus a 20-ounce bottle. Easier to get in a frame bag, easier to pack out.
It's funny too because I've actually never heard anyone say heavy in regards to pop or soda before. I instantly knew what that meant.
It's not a common thing.
Yeah,
but I picked it up at some point. But yeah, like Coke heavy, like
it's
Marlboro heavy.
Everyone.
Yeah, that's really what it comes. It comes from smokes.
Yeah.
But
or beer because it would be like a regular Bud would be.
Sheetz prides themselves on they have both. They have a full cafe menu, so if you want your froofy coffee drinks, you can get that there. I feel like Sheetz has there. And I would say the other thing that I look for personally, that when I am going into a convenience store, I'm looking, if it has MTO, I'm looking for a veggie sandwich. If they have, and the other thing I usually am eating on a ride is chips. For whatever, the salt, the whatever, that's just like what I'm craving during the middle of a long ride. So if we're hitting the gas station, I'm hitting the chip aisle, find some chips. Sheetz is a much, much, much better chip selection. Wawa, I'm always constantly like because you know how like they hide them in places, like so there's like the main chip area, and then they have like some over here and some over here and some by the register. So I'll do like a full lap before I make my chip decision.
Same. Yeah.
And Wawa, I'm always like, there's got to be more. There has to be another aisle I'm just not seeing that's got like that's or something like that. There never is. So I'm usually disappointed. Walking away, I don't know, just some Lay's or something like that. But
do you know what sucks about both of them? They're both ripoffs on things that are cheap at other places. So like your classic cheap like peanut butter crackers, like the ones that are like orange with peanut butter in them. You know what I'm talking about? There's like there's 2 layers. Like they're
yeah, like the Lance crackers. Yes, yeah.
Those things are like 89 cents at a Circle K. And I looked up a Circle K map. They're everywhere, so it's a universal thing. Those things are under $1. Sheetz and Wawa, like they're always like 2 something, and I'm like, because Aaron is sick of me saying this, because like, and sometimes I'm in the mood just for the round peanut butter ones, like whatever, just cheap crackers that they have them under different brands, usually Lance. You're right.
Yeah.
At Sheetz and Wawa, they're a ripoff. And my whole thing has always been like on bike rides, I'm like, best deal. Like this is the, like this is what you like. You grab a couple of these, you're getting, it's just all carbs, right? You're getting cracker with some kind of thing in the middle.
They usually are like salty on the top, right?
Yeah, and you're getting some salt, which is one of my weaknesses. I'll tend to eat like just Starburst or Mambas or just gummy stuff, and I'm like, yeah, and So there it is. And then like when I get to Sheetz or Wawa, they're a ripoff, and I'm like, how can you charge? And like all the snacks, though, I feel like the MTO food is like not that expensive compared to a restaurant. But then you go and you like try and just buy normal stuff like chips at these places, and you're getting like hammered. And it's like, this is where I don't want to spend money. Like if I'm getting this stuff, that's where I feel like I should be getting the deal. And if I walk into a normal gas station that doesn't have MTO food, you walk out and you're like, I just spent $3 and I've got a bag.
Maybe because they're like, think about it. Like, I feel like if you buy Advil or if you're buying anything that you would normally like get at a regular grocery store, it's always significantly expensive. And I think it's because maybe they know they got you over barrel if you're buying it there. You know what I mean? So they're going to upcharge anything that you would normally be able to get at a regular.
Like a drug, like buying beer at a drugstore where you're like,
I guess so. We don't have that in New Jersey, so I don't know. By the way, somebody corrected me, and they are 100% right. It's Naptown Chris. It's Bud Heavy is where I get that from.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. Beer, beer is
Bud
where
Heavy.
it comes from.
So Coke Heavy.
So let me give my Wawa rebuttal. But again,
please.
It's one Wawa, just 3 different times. But when I was with this video crew, so not even one guy is my friend, an old friend, but like. We're like driving down the road, we're eating the food. I'm like, are you sure you don't want to just, because they don't have a place to eat outside, like you said, or inside. Like, do you guys want to just hang out? Like, you don't have to start driving. Let's eat the food. And he's like, nah, let's get home. Like, whatever, we're working. And we're all eating. He's like, man, this is like restaurant quality. This is like deli quality food. And I'm like, I'm like, mine's really good. And then like the kid in the back, he's like a younger dude. We turn around, he's like, how is he? He like holds it up and smile, like this big like shit-eating grin comes across his face. So my Wawa experiences have been like really positive. Like I said, it's 3 times, but it turns out the Delta is 1, which is not as a problem for a healthy debate. But
no, that's fair, because I mean that stuff's going to be pretty standardized, right? If it's whatever the quality and size of the,
that's what they do.
I do miss that's the one thing as a vegan I've always said, an Italian sub, you cannot had the best versions from the best fake meat places. There's nothing that compares to like a good deli Italian sub. Just nothing cuts it. Man. Yeah. I would say somebody in the comments has to then, or I guess, so compare that to Sheetz though. So how, like, Sheetz meat isn't good?
I just still feel, I guess for us and like us in the car, when we were talking about, we're like, Sheetz still felt like way more like fast food. And this felt like a little bit elevated,
Okay.
That's
like a deli then. I would be, that's fair, I think. Cause I think like, I guess that's why I like Sheetz so much, because there's so many other things other than just deli stuff where I feel like Wawa and Quick Check are pretty, and anything that Wawa goes like off into the side on, like I've not had it, but I heard their mac and cheese is like atrocious at this point. Like it's inedible. My kid has sampled, usually when we go to these places, the only thing he'll eat is pizza. And so Wawa and Sheetz both have pizza now. The Sheetz pizza he's into, Wawa, he's always like, even for him, he will eat the garbage as pizza, movie theater pizza, doesn't matter. And he will also be like, the Wawa pizza's garbage. But that's a good point. I think for a deli, I feel like, well, I don't know, maybe if you've been through like New York, Long Island, New Jersey, I feel like the deli culture is really strong. So I feel like they have to compete. Like that's the one area where they probably do need to, really put in some effort to compete with the other options in the area.
The other thing, this is one that I brought up before, and I don't know if you have it in New Jersey. I know we've noticed it when we were doing the Finger Lakes, and I looked, and they had a bunch of. Let me look at is this location finder did me any good? Do me any good? That's not English. Oh, okay. Okay, so this would be here. I'll put it on screen, but this is not in your region as much as I thought it might be. These, I assume it's pronounced Byrne. It's Byrne, and I feel like
I've never
this.
seen that.
No, so this would apply, I think, much more to what you were just hitting at. Like when we were doing the Finger Lakes, we had a couple like a bike tour. We had a couple days where like this gas station is going to be the only option. So like, me and Ben and Aaron were kind of planning, and there was going to be 6 or 7 of us out on the ride. So we're like letting everyone know what's going on. And we're like, on this day, like at this time, we were thinking this is a gas station. And then we went to these places, and it was like, how you order at like a Subway where someone's like making it in front of you. It was like that, but it was quality. It was like absolute quality.
Okay.
And you could go vegan and veggie, or you could get like a full on deli thing. And I was like, so that's why for me, when it comes to any place I've ever stopped that looks like a gas station, if it's like one of those places, they're number one. Like,
okay. And so Byrne, and that's like West New York, it looks like, which that's a shame because I was like driving through there, but I think we went. So I'm looking at your map. We cut through that, like there's a road that kind of right before you hit that big cluster that goes south. So we cut through that like backwoodsy mountain area that like goes south of all those. So I guess we just totally missed it. Knowing that we had this episode in Canada, I was also looking for like, hey, do they have something like this? I didn't find anything. Somebody correct me if we just were oblivious to it. Their gas stations are mostly Essos that I saw. A lot of them had like Tim Hortons in them or 7-Elevens in them. But I didn't find anything that was like made to order-y type stuff.
People were early on. People were talking about Timmy's, and like the ones we have around here are trash. Like they're like the turnpike exits, and they're just like, I mean, it's like the sloppiest fast food you could buy. Like
Yeah, I remember when I went on, I think we talked about it before, but I went on tour for a little while with a hardcore band as their merch person, was in between jobs. And we like went through Montreal, Quebec City, and so of course, like we're like, oh yeah, we're like in Canada, let's try Tim Hortons. And I got sick immediately. And I can't, it's similar to you with Sheetz. I can't say it was truly Tim Hortons because like we had been up for 38 hours at that point when I ate it. My stomach always gets weird when I don't sleep. So it might have been a combination of the two, but I just remember being like, it was one of the, I think it was in Toronto at the Rec Room. He was just like, the singer in the band was like, Tim Hortons sucks. And like crickets, like, they were pissed. We had some burger place that seemed like a Hardee's though. We were up there. That was pretty good. Anyway, I digress. The other thing I think, so that Byrne's place is bordering on another thing that I think is probably one of the better in terms of like the non-MTO places, which was I don't know if you stopped at one going to Gunk's, which was the Stewart's.
No, people have brought up
like
Stewart's.
roadside things. We have those where like, it's just a regular like burger place that you can sit outside at in the summer. But like they have the Stewart's Chapés, and those had ice cream. So for like when we were finishing up the Gunk's ride and coming back, we took a bail route. I think we covered that at some point. But like we were like, oh, there's a Stewart's right over there. Let's go grab some like Cokes and stuff like that. And so it was like, oh man, I really was gonna take us like 3 miles out of the way to go get ice cream. And so it was like, Stewart's has ice cream. We're like, oh shit, they do. They sure did. So I feel like that's a definitely an elevated touch that you don't see at gas stations a lot. And they got a milkshake that said it was pretty great. So good for Stewart's Chapés.
Southern Ohio has a place kind of like that, and I think it's spread pretty wide. I actually didn't pull up a map of it, and I meant to, because I was just doing a shoot in the Cincinnati area, and then I was down in Columbus. But United Dairy, UDH, what is that's right. UDH is. Do you guys have those out there?
No.
It's like an orange, red and blue logo, I believe. But they have like a full on ice cream shop where it's like, there's like the flavors in front of you, in front of the glass, like the not soft serve, UDF, United Dairy Farmers. That's a big thing in like central and southern Ohio, and I think they're spread much farther than that. That's just where I encounter them. But they're one of those places where you go down there and you can get a shake, you can get a cone, you can get a sandwich, and they are like, I was telling the people we were photographing, like it was like a family of like less means. I'm like, oh, we don't have these up in like Northeast Ohio. And they're like, what? Then where do you get your ice cream? And I'm like, oh, there's other places to get ice cream. But
there are a million local places. And stuff.
Yeah. But it was funny to just be like, they were like, the UDF is everything to us, like in our neighborhood.
Yeah. The one thing I will backtrack on though is again, so we're talking a lot about just the place in general. I do feel like the Wawas tend to be there's at least around place that I biked. You're likely to maybe catch a Wawa that isn't like on the side of like a 6-lane highway. There's this, especially the new Sheetz are, I feel like, really like interstate focused. So you're not getting a lot of like, when I was in college, the Sheetz was like not on the side of a major highway. It was on the side of like a busy 2-lane road, but like nothing crazy. I can't remember the last time I was riding in Pennsylvania. I don't ride in Pennsylvania that much, but like I don't think I would ever be riding and come across the Sheetz at this point. Like they're going to be on roads that we're not biking on. Wawa's quick checks. Some of the old ones you still get in some weird spots that are kind of adjacent, but that is the one thing I will say for Wawa is, especially in Florida when we were riding around there, we like Wawa was like literally one of the rest stops that we made into a rest stop. We were doing the 9-mile down there, which was nice. It was on the side of a busier road, but it like had a side road coming up to it. I feel like the Sheetz are really just like right off the highway, so you're not getting back roads at all.
Yeah. Around here, like a Sheetz is just like a pilot or a travel center. There's nothing else. Whereas like even like I said, the one Wawa I've been to is like you have to get off, you have to go past some historic buildings, and it's like on the edge of town. It's definitely different than where Sheetz is going to build their locations. When Sheetz first came to this area, they were in Medina, and I was on one of my first dates in my life. And don't get wrong ideas. I just didn't date anyone when I was very young. So this isn't that long. This is a couple years ago.
Tim himself.
Yeah. But it was like the Sheetz showed up out in Medina, which would be historically pretty country, but it was getting rapidly, suburbanized and, stuff like that. But it was like the shining city on a hill. Like when we approached the Sheetz, it was like blocking out the night sky. Like, like the woman I was with, she was like, we got the Sheetz now. And she was like, we had been like swimming in a pond in the dark, like on that evening on a farm. And then we approached this like beacon of, So, yeah.
I don't know if this is from a podcast, a New Jersey themed podcast I was listening to, is saying that they feel like this is more of a uniquely New York, New Jersey thing, but like are slice shops a thing in Ohio or like other places in the country?
How do you pronounce that? Slice shop?
Slice shops, like a pizza, like pizza by the slice.
Oh, no. Pizza by the slice here is almost always garbage, right? It's like Little Caesars.
Little Caesars.
Yeah.
There's a few spots that'll do it. Like
Jets does it a little bit. Yeah, which is originally a New York place. No, Michigan place. But yeah, no, like by the slice is very rare in Ohio. Yeah.
So I feel like so when I was thinking back to this and like, so we're talking about gas station, like, yes, gas station food, just like the whatever random store they have inside of a gas station, right? Like that's ubiquitous. Sometimes they're branded, sometimes they're not, like whatever. We've all been to those, but I think like in New Jersey, we have, I think more commonly where we end up stopping, to be honest, on rides is at slice shops, because you can grab a slice or two, scarf it down and get on the road.
Oh, wow.
They also usually have veggie sub, like a cooked veggie sub. So like I can get that, or I can grab a couple slices of pizza and take the cheese off. Like I can make do with that. So I feel like that is probably the most common spot, other than a like backroads gas station where you're kind of taking what you can get. You grab a bag of chips or whatever, but like that's where we're usually trying to look out for, to stop like pizza shops, because they all have pizza by the slice. You don't have to wait for a whole pie to get made. They throw it in the oven, it's ready in a minute. You scarf it down in the parking lot and you're on your way, type of thing.
That's funny because Dave, when you were saying that, I was thinking of Capri was a spot that you could walk in and buy slices, but that was like it was in a bar district. So it was like you're drinking, you want a slice. But for like a bike ride and going out and finding a place that would just be selling a slice, I think that's highly outside of gas station culture.
So I think that's a uniquely like New Jersey, New York thing, then, that slice shops are a thing. And it's actually, we were talking about before, one thing that I miss going vegan is like, it's very rare to get a slice somewhere, because they're not, they'll make you a pie without cheese and like a ton of veggies or whatever. That's usually what we're getting.
Yeah.
But very rarely are they going to have a slice. But there's a couple vegan pizza places that also have vegan pizza that will keep slice pies. I will go 30 minutes out of my way to go to these places, because that's like, it's like a different tactile experience, like the crust on the bottom gets a little crispier. Like when you fold, it kind of like snaps a little bit. Like it's just different. It hits different. So that's something I truly miss, and I'm like very jealous because a lot of times when we are stopping on rides, it's at these places, and I can't get that. So I gotta like wait for a veggie sub, and I'll usually be like, I don't even need you to heat it up because I'm gonna make it ready. Wait,
Yeah.
it's like toast the bread and like get me out of here.
A couple of
But
people
yeah,
mentioned about me talking about Little Caesars, or one person like tried to defend them. They
who
are
thinks
like
that's good.
they are literally, they don't make the pizzas there. They are
Yeah.
like they're the whatever of the, I'm trying to think of like an example. They are taking pizzas that are made somewhere else and thawing them.
Just heat it,
They
yeah.
are a microwave. They're a microwave company. Little Caesars is not good. I'm not saying you can't get drunk and then slam a Little Caesars and enjoy it, but I'm just saying that you could also go to the store and buy like some frozen pizza and then microwave it yourself, and you're getting the same
Which
experience.
honestly, most gas stations do have frozen pizzas
Yeah, it's exactly.
and a microwave. So if you
Yeah.
really were desperate, you could make that happen yourself. I was gonna say, I was wondering if Little Caesars got better or something like that. That's why somebody was saying it was good.
No. It's like there's one two doors down from me. Like their
Yeah.
hot and ready thing is like, yeah, order whatever you want because we're gonna microwave it for 2 minutes and give it to you. It's, yeah, they're not a.
Oh, some of the Toronto or Ontario people need it. We kept seeing pizza, which I thought was Little Caesars, but then we also saw like, oh, maybe that's what they called up here because the ads like pizza.
Pizza.
But
that Little
then we would
Caesars from
see
back
Little
in the day?
Caesars. So I don't know, is that a separate thing up there? But they were all over the place in Oakville and Toronto.
But they used to be like, Little Caesars used to be a different place than it is now. It's a Dunkin'. Like same Dunkin' used to be a different place, but now Dunkin' doesn't make anything. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if you guys have Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme makes donuts. They're still a chain, but they make donuts. Dunkin' thaws stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Fair enough.
when I'm out of coffee, I go over to the Dunkin' and I get a bagel, and it's garbage. But I know I'm out of food, and I'm gonna go and get this fast food garbage. Like that's what it is. It's a McDonald's. You know, Krispy Kreme is not a McDonald's. They are still making donuts there. Like whether they're using the best ingredients or not, probably not. But like, yeah, you know, they're making something in that place. You know, like people are assembling.
Dunkin' used to though, because I had a friend in high school who worked at the Dunkin' Donuts, and he was like had to like go in early and like make donuts.
They're not making. There's no fryers in a Dunkin'. There's no fryers in a Dunkin'.
That's a good point because they're all like gas stations now. They're not like the old standalone Dunkin' Donuts probably did have a fryer in the back, and they were actually probably like frying and frosting the donuts. But now they're not, and I haven't had Dunkin' in 10 years, so I don't know if it's any good or not. But it doesn't seem like it.
No, it's not. When I like, it's like the kind of thing when I get it, I'm like, oh, this is a sad meal for a sad man having breakfast.
Yeah, coffee shops are really. I know everybody loves the gas stations like Food Cyclists or whatever is like a great Instagram account. But we're usually trying to plan stuff around coffee shops because that usually is going to satisfy everybody. Most higher end coffee shops are typically, in my experience, going to have vegan pastries and stuff like, or at least muffins these days. So that's usually where we're trying to like route around. Like, where can we stop and get coffee and some
real.
pastry?
And again, if you're planning about what you're going to do, you're going to build your ride around. Like me and Aaron build a ride around the stops we're going to. So it's like we're like, good food is going to be integrated. I think that's one of the differences. The conversation we're having is, out of the bad places, who has the best food, right?
That's a good point.
Like you just need something, because we stopped in like we were on a Labor Day ride and we stopped in Warren, Ohio, and nothing was open, but most things haven't been open there, as we found out, for 40 some years. So it was like it's just a rough place. It's outside Youngstown. It's the Mahoning Valley. They had a big auto plant that closed down a long time ago. You know what I mean? You're in the true Rust Belt. And we went into this big gas station and we're like, oh, like we saw the size of it. We're like, and it's independent. We're like, there's going to be something here. And it was like Doritos was the best thing we could find in this place.
Wow.
Like, we're just like, oh, they're doing nothing here. And like, we're sitting out on the curb, like having this sad Labor Day, like, you know, lunch, because we're riding like 100 miles home and all this kind of thing. So it's, it's like one of those experiences where like, God, are there cashews here? Because that would be a delicacy now when I'm looking
Yeah.
at it. thinking,
That feels like or like when you're like routing to something and then you get there and then realize that like, oh, they're closed on Tuesdays or something like
Yeah.
that, and you're just devastated. Like I can imagine how that must go. Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, in general, like especially with Erin, food is like what she's done. Like, she
Mhm.
ran a farmer's market. Now she runs like or works for Produce Perks Midwest. So it's like food, like, access work and all this kind of stuff. She
Mhm.
worked in like high end restaurants and all that. So it's like, yeah, we're looking for like decent stuff, like not like just gentrified stuff, but like actually like who's like actually buying some local ingredients here and there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so we plan our rides in those kind of ways, but that's not always what your rides are going to be. Like when you're on a bike tour, this is why like I think this conversation matters, because like you're on a bike tour and like you've never heard of Byrne, like the Byrne gas station thing. Now
Mhm.
like this isn't just a gas station. You could go get quality food there. Like
Yeah. I wish I had known. I wish I had known this 2 weeks ago. Wasn't really useful information. But yeah. So somebody said, I guess Pizza is not Little Caesars.
Oh, who is it?
Interesting. Bunch, but there's a lot of pizza talk. We struck a nerve, it seems like. I thought it had.
But
I
there was
know.
a guy
And you
who
ever
he slammed down a spear. The pizza flipped over and then landed back on it.
Flipped and then came in. Yeah. But he said pizza, but apparently it's confusing. It's a point of confusion up there because it is a separate thing, and they hold the trademark for it. It's a Canadian national chain. So, yeah, got it. So we can't. Little Caesars can't do the spear flip.
Oh, that's never stopped.
Do you ever watch another good bike YouTube? He doesn't post very often, but they do like big things. But have you ever watched like Pennsylvania Dirtbags?
Yeah, they do like the Jorts ride and stuff, right?
Yeah. But I love that they're like whoopie pie thing, because like we're talking about like that's the sort of like roadside stand staple that you're going to see, especially in Pennsylvania. I don't know if that's a thing all over the place, but like especially as you're getting through more like Amishy places, like that's one of those things where like that I'm sure that's not really, it's a gag, but it's probably not really all that much of a gag, because as they're riding through those areas, that's probably a staple of like every roadside stand, every gas station has their own, and like they're usually not I don't usually see them ever being corporate made. They're usually in a basket by the register, lined up. Who knows how long they've been sitting there, but they're wrapped in saran wrap and they're made by somebody, if not at that place, at like somebody in town. So they are truly like different everywhere you go. So like the funny thing of like them like rating whoopie pies as they're on tour, I feel like is so organic and is so like indicative of that area that they're riding through, which I love.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I love when I find that even at like I'll go into some corporate chains and they'll have like Buckeyes or something. You're like, this is not. Oh, you don't know Buckeyes because you're from
no.
So it's
not from Buckeye.
Yeah, it's
State.
peanut butter with chocolate around it. Like so, it's like so it looks like. Do you know what a Buckeye looks like? Like an actual
no,
Buckeye from a Buckeye tree?
I mean, I know what the stupid Ohio State guy with the big round head looks like.
Yeah,
is that
so
it?
that.
Oh, okay.
So the tan.
It's a big ball.
So it's a tan center with dark all around it. So, but the confection, if you will, is a peanut butter ball with chocolate around it. So like you would think of like a peanut M&M or something, but this is way more handmade. So it's like you take peanut and have dipped it in chocolate. But you're like you'll go into like gas stations around here that you think is just a corporate chain, but somebody has sold them. Like they've gotten their food licensing and all their laws like settled, and like here you walk in, and it doesn't have to be a Buckeye, but I love when you go in places and they have that kind of thing where you're like on the counter, you're like, oh, these are the local, like someone has been able to get this chain's regional manager to buy like something actually kind of handmade and local.
Yeah. Those are usually, I feel like there's a lot of those types, even in chains, they somehow have them. Boiled peanuts in the South is like that. I feel like you get a lot of the like little bats of, which keeps me out, but like, I know they love them. Steve would kill me if you heard me talking like this, but like, yeah, the bats of boiled peanut, I'm like, ugh. We went to one, there was like, they were selling beer mugs and there was like an inch thick of like dead flies in the bottom of the beer mugs. I was like, I'm not getting boiled peanuts from that vat if this is what merchandise looks like. On the I think the weirdest one I've ever seen like that though is, and we're doing a lot of Canada talk today, but it's all fresh in my mind. I didn't see any on this trip, but on the last trip that I went, like the cheese curds just at the register, unrefrigerated, just like sitting out, like weirds me out. But I guess they're shelf stable, don't need to be refrigerated. But
Would you carry us for a second? I've got to run to the bathroom. I've lost.
yeah, sure. Please do. I will go back through. Hey, Natty, what's up? All right. The doctor has been to a grease truck. That's exciting. By the way, so never mind. I won't tell that story. Anybody else have any questions while Tim is doing that? Boiled peanuts and dead flies go hand in hand. I mean, it was Florida, so that does seem legit. Is their own thing. Fried pie. Andy, where is fried pies are big where? And what is a fried pie? I'm not familiar. This is the tuna boat. That period normally. The curds are salty. Are they salty? I don't know. It's been so long since I've had real poutine. I did have vegan poutine when I was up there. You're asking Pudgy, but I stayed in Oakville, and it was at it was right off a third line, right by the lake, and we rode around by the lake a bunch. Struggled to find good coffee in Oakville. That was the one problem. But we were also weren't in like downtown Oakville. That was this trip was. I usually like to get good bread and coffee while on vacation. Did not find much there, but I also didn't do that much research. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody was mentioning a fried pie, Tim. That was
fried pie.
I was
yeah.
I don't know what that is, but
You don't have fried pies out there?
no, I don't know what that is.
It would be like, what are those things? Well, like when you order something out of like the commercialized version would come in a cardboard box and it would have like a glaze on it and like a fruit filling. But
Yeah. Like,
but a good one is like usually should come in like a wax bag that's open on the top and they put a fry pie in there.
The commercially available ones are often, because they're so cheaply made, are actually accidentally vegan because they're using Crisco instead of lard in the pie crust. So they are actually and pectin instead of gelatin. So oftentimes those, I forget, Tasty Cake makes some. There's another brand that I'm missing, but yeah, I've done some gas station ones of those in a pinch too, because yeah, they're usually vegan. So full of sugar.
No, they're overwhelming. Like the processed ones are overwhelmingly sweet, but like a handmade one is still pretty sweet, but can be good. The other thing, when I was in Boston, my buddy from Youngstown, talking about Warren and Mahoning Valley, his wife was from Boston, and we were out there, and like they didn't know about, like, do you guys have like do you know pumpkin rolls? What a pumpkin roll is?
Yeah, it's like
a pastry with like cream and
like cake, pumpkin cake with cream, and then rolled up, right?
And then you
slice
it.
Yeah.
Okay, because like when she didn't know that, we're like, that's a localism. Like we weren't thinking it was a localism.
No, I don't think that is. But yeah, fried pie is okay. I've never just heard them call that. I use Hostess or Tasty Cake pie.
But yeah, it's like, well, you said Amish country, so there's a lot of that in Ohio. That's something like the Amish would make really well. Those are ones you would want to on ride food. You're on a bike ride. You need some sugar. That's going to be a killer snack. Like
what's your opinion on pickles? Are you a pickle road like ball cycling guy or no?
So no, I'm not a pickle cycling guy, but I love pickles and I love pickled food. So it's like, but the whole thing of like, if I come up to like the rest stop and there's a spread of stuff, I'm going for the sugar. I'm not going for the pickle stuff. Like I don't, but I like if I'm sitting down at a restaurant and they're like, oh, there's going to be kimchi or there's going to be this pickle thing or there's you want a deli sandwich with a like pickles optional. I'm like, give me that pickle. Someone doesn't eat the pickle. I'm like, yeah. On rides though, it's not like that whole like the whole like pickle juice thing, and like I've never been.
This is for cramps. Somebody was saying, because I ran a rest stop for a thing, and like they dumped off a bunch of pickle juice. I'm like, what? But it wasn't pickles. It was just bottled pickle juice.
Yeah. And
I was like, what are we supposed to do with this? Like, are we handing these out, or like it was like no, pour them in like shot glasses, and like they like take shots. I'm like, okay. Must be a fast person thing, I guess, because maybe they're right. Like when I race cross, I will get cramps, but like I'm not stopping and like at a rest stop. So I don't know. I've never
Yeah.
like tried to solve them with pickles stuff, but I guess maybe the people that are riding really fast, like it helps stave off cramps. Somebody in the thing can pickle back shots. That's
I know
certainly
about
something.
yeah. That the girlfriend who worked at a bar, and then she's like, "We should do something." Like, oh, that was good. Like, that's fine. But yeah,
Mhm.
like when I pull up, like when I'm like, and again, like I said, I have faulted myself not getting enough salt, and I've gotten like weird by not. It's affected me like definitely on long rides, but it's just that's so not appealing to me when I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like I'm a
Mhm.
carb guy when I'm like going long rides and going hard. I just want not even hard, just like going on long endurance rides. I want
Yeah.
carbs, like, and if I'm gonna get the salt, I would rather just get it from like because there's so much salt in normal food, so like sandwich chips, as you had mentioned. So it's like it's
Yeah.
not hard to get your sodium intake in America, you know. Like
That's very true. You know what I've been doing lately though? I used to like, as big noon person. That's like always what I put, like I'd have 2 bottles always on longer rides, one for noon and one for water. And then but like it's expensive and like you gotta I don't know, they like I would have them go bad on me. Because I would buy like the big pack of them and then not go through them fast enough. Anyway, I started buying at the grocery store. Just Gatorade makes like whole packets that you can like dump into stuff. I'm like salt is replicating Gatorade, it's fine. And so I just started doing that and it's like way cheaper and it's actually tastes better than Noon and all those other like I know
Yeah.
Scratch sponsors a lot of cool stuff and they're a cool company, small time thing, but like big footprint, but like man, just some Gatorade packets. I just started throwing them in like bags now and I have them all the time and they're great. They're cheap as all get out because you can get them at the grocery store. You're not paying dumb, internet prices for fancy fuel stuff.
in bags that are not no way to dispose of, they're going into a landfill, and like that's why for me I'm like I just get like when I stop at gas station I just get candy, and everyone is like I have the sports nutrition friends, and I'm like I get it if you're trying to win the tour or like the Vuelta that's going on right now. Like the kind of sugar and how fast it could hit you is important. We're not living that fucking life. We're gonna stop and have beers. Like we're
Yeah.
like it's like I could just grab like the Snickers or whatever the hell else is at the
Snickers and a Bud Heavy, and I'm good to go for another 20.
I'm a piece of shit. That's what I'm trying to say.
But I posted about this recently. Somebody's commenting like some big ride came through and then they were putting out the litter. When I did Mid South, that was a thing that was really stuck out to me. And we were talking about with some people that were there afterwards. It was like I remember going through like we are off of a road. This isn't even like roadside garbage. So it's definitely not coming from cars. This is like private property that they got permission to go through. So there's absolutely no way that this is coming from anything other than people racing, quote unquote, Mid South, right? And we're going through this field, and it is just littered with. I still remember the brand is SIS or something like that. It just packets all over the ground. I'm like, I don't know if it was accidental because it was a bumpier section, so maybe like I don't know. I don't have jerseys, so I don't know if like that does it fall out of jersey pockets when you're getting
You're
through
doing
the
like
Niagara or something like that, or and stuff. But like there was too many, so like these people were just like throwing them on the ground or something like that, and it was like this is bullshit. Especially like this is private property, this is somebody's farm or something like that. Like, and this is the way that you're going to treat it. Assume that somebody else is going to come through and pick it up. Like that's absolute, just like
even in
terrible
pro cycling,
behavior. I don't know how else to describe it.
even in pro cycling, they've changed the rule because people used to throw the
Yeah,
bottles
and
in
the
the
track
wrappers, and now they have like areas where it's like you throw it so people clean it up. It's like,
Yeah.
nobody wants those stupid wrappers blowing around their like your vineyard or your or even a farm
Right.
in the Midwest. It doesn't matter. Like who wants that? Like it's insane. Yeah.
I don't know why you think that you racing bikes should I don't know, like should dictate that you feel like you have the right to do that. Like that's what
These are the people comment on the
drives
channel
me
when
nuts.
when I go out and do one of these bike races, like a gravel race, and like the vitriol always comes, like I said, it's from the person who comes in 50th, who is
Mhm.
like thinks they're like the shit and is like has like spent all winter indoors on a trainer. And again, I'm not putting any of that down. It's just
Yeah.
these people who are like so focused on this stuff and they just get this whole mentality about them. It's so weird. Like, and the same comes from the extreme of the mountain bike world. I get that so bad when I ride about like going through a stop sign. They're like, I would never do that. I'm like, yeah, because you've never ridden your bike where there's stop signs. You drive to a mountain bike trail. Like, you know what I mean? You take it
Yeah.
off your car, you take it off your very expensive car. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's who are the people who are like doing that. It's like,
Yeah.
and I always say that. I'm like, all this stuff, the pros don't live like that. The pros don't act like that. Like, one of my best friends is the #1 gravel racer in Ohio for women. She was like, we take care of each other out there on the road. We call out obstacles. We don't, yeah, it's just like, it's always these mid-pack. It's the weekend warrior. It's this broy. They should be, I always say this when they comment. I'm like, would you please just go play football and leave our culture alone? Like,
Yeah. And I don't know. There was I forget after Mid South had the fire thing this year, and I think it was I'm not trying to call her specifically out, but actually I don't know if it's her or they, but Queer Gravel wrote a thing about why this community is so important. And this proved why the community, like, you guys, okay, we're talking about like these wildfires are indirectly caused by climate change, or directly caused by climate change. The people that do these events are traveling several times a month in planes or driving really long distances with crews of people with like support cars, creating a ton of trash, and are like, oh, we're saving the world by riding. But you are doing net negative to the world by doing what you're doing. And I understand it's a sport. I understand it's their living. I'm sure my company, if you add up all the whatever processing power we use, I'm sure it's not great for the environment either. But like, I also don't have any delusions that like my company is doing amazing things for the world. Like, right? Like, I sucks, but that's just the world we live in. I have to, pay bills.
Yeah.
So, but like this like delusion, delulu of like, oh, this gravel community is really important and special and like saving the world. It's not.
no.
It's doing bad. Same as the tour, same as all the other stuff. Like, I love it. I watch it, but like, how many did you watch? There's a couple of videos that came out this year. I don't know if there was in previous years. They like filmed the whole caravan of like the tour going by.
Yeah.
It's not just a couple team cars. There's a ton of team cars too, but it's sponsor vehicles. It's all this other stuff. Like there was
There's
like
the promo
20 minutes of
caravan
cars
before the
driving
caravan.
by
Yeah.
before the race even got there, right? So like, think of how much fuel that's using. Think of how much all those people had to fly there to get there, right? Like, these are pretty resource intensive things, and I'm not trying to like say that I'm better than anybody or that I'm not whatever but I'm also not driving everywhere every weekend, right? Like, I try to do as many rides as I can at home, pick one or two things I want to do a year, same as you, and like I'll do those things, and we're carpool, you know what I mean? Usually not flying, and we're trying to do it as economically and like somewhat environmentally friendly as possible. And we're certainly not littering all over the place.
Yeah. I'm certainly, still, when I do these things, I'm still trying to be slightly conscious. Like, we still sometimes try to pack food from home, and but again, like, I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, my buddy Dylan is like done the math on that. He doesn't fly because he was like, sitting in a passenger seat in an airplane is still burning more fuel than driving across the country. Like, so, but again, we all do these calculations. I think it's the same thing of us like drinking out of soggy paper straws, and then like, the rich people are just jet setting to like a wedding that like sets us back 200 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, but I always say this. I'm like, I don't do the right thing because I think I'm saving the world. I do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Like, and that's like, I'm not like this. I mean, everything's going the wrong way. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm still going to do the right thing as I don't know. I think it's living by an example or whatever. I don't care. Or if no one even knows, I don't care. It's just like, but I know that like, I'm still gonna recycle my stupid cans and stuff like that, even though it doesn't matter. And I'm gonna try and buy as least plastics as I can, even though it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, because these private jets flying everywhere are going to burn more fossil fuels than my plastics could ever be efficiently recycled for. But
that's the thing. I mean, also like I know there are people that give people shit for, and I have different issues with it, but like for environmental reasons, using AI like for image generation, stuff like that, which I'm not defending this, please. Like, I want to make that very clear. I'm not defending AI. But what I am saying, though, is working in the field that I work in and knowing how corporations are using AI, there is no amount of dumb bike flyers being made with AI image generators that is doing even a fraction of the energy consumption of the corporations that are doing like AI at such a massive scale. and through such huge pieces of data and things like that, that it is in no way, shape, or form like it's one of those things like you're talking about, like the paper straw versus the freaking Taylor Swift concert, right? Like flying all over the country. It is such an, not only that, there's a million other reasons not to use AI, but like that argument I've been questioning
really
because I feel like it's different.
I've been really annoyed with this too, because they'll single out like a chat GPT query and say what it uses.
Mm-hmm.
But the internet runs on server farms. It always has.
Correct.
And so and more server farms were already being built for the internet infrastructure that we all need and we live by now. So I've been I've always been like, show me where the internet ends and where AI is topping it off, because I'm not buying this either. And I am a hardcore liberal. I have been an environmentalist my whole life. And I'm like, I use ChatGPT when I want to. I don't use it all the time. It's very rare. But when I need to, I do. And also now when I just search the net, Google or Bing,
you're getting it anyway. Yeah, I know you can
so
turn
I'm
it
not
off,
even
but it's doing it.
And this is not, whatever. It doesn't matter. But I just believe they're being dishonest on the liberal side, just the way conservatives do all the time on everything they do. But on this whole AI thing of how much this is using, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all, because Google and Tesla and everybody and Microsoft are already going to build as many server farms as they can to handle the infrastructure and the technology of what's happening. And I just don't buy that AI is this massive increase. And we've just labeled everything AI that was already going on. The Google searches weren't AI before. They always were. They're algorithms. They're just advanced algorithms. They're just more advanced now. It was always going to get more advanced, right? I'm not buying it. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
So no. And I think it's important because I feel like sometimes there's the issue of the week or whatever type of thing, right? And again, also being a liberal progressive person, and then sometimes you just got to step back and be like, all right, it's that thing of pushing the ethics onto the consumer, while then letting every corporation under the sun then get away with it, because they're now putting the blame onto the consumer, which represents such a small portion of the actual problem, right? Yeah. So if you're going to fight AI, you need to fight for regulations that stops everybody from using all these needlessly complex AI things to do everything from customer service and all these other things, which if you think, you generating one image, imagine how many, if Amazon has an AI chat agent, how much that is doing for just one day versus then all of us collectively making bike flyers occasionally on the thing. So I think it's shitty, because I agree artists aren't getting compensated for it. I think it's a lack of creativity in a lot of ways, but hey, there's lack of creativity is going on and artists being ripped out forever. But it's an excuse to do something, but it's
it's always been a problem.
Right.
It was the people, I know this is different when I know this is going to sound oversimplified, but it's like a telegraph. Someone who knew the telegraph thought they were an artist and an expert. And then the telephone came along, and you adapt. And I'm a photographer. I literally make my money in the creative field. You know what I do? I learn that stuff and I use it to my advantage to try and stay ahead. And if it passes me, then it's okay, then that's how the fucking world works. And am I gonna be the one to stop it by not using it? No, I'm not. Me and Dave we just shot a bunch of portraits. The fact that Adobe could single out the subject now, something that used to take me a lot of time. Am I not going to be the one who knows how to do that and use the technology that what am I going to do? Not let it go to the cloud and manually draw that mask? Am I going to save the world by doing that? No, I'm not. I'm going to get left behind by being the guy trying to do that, right? I Rigged just said,
yeah.
So
I'm not saying it's good, but I'm just saying I feel we got to also watch who we're blaming for stuff, and it does for somebody that doesn't have artistic ability to then be able to democratize being able to make a flyer for something or make something that's decent. That's a good use case.
Photos of
a use case that maybe use a little bit more, but again, if you knew what these other companies are doing, is pales in comparison to how much resources it's using. So
Yeah, and also stock photos have always, there's the photographer who went and takes stock photos, and the true commercial photographer hated that guy. And
Mhm.
you're putting like more of those guys out. The creative field's going to exist, and like everything's a pendulum. So like this AI stuff, those filters we were putting on before we came live, like because we're on Google right now, are funny, and like everyone will use those, and then it's gonna like all this stuff is gonna swing back, and people are gonna want authenticity. Why are all the young people buying point and shoot cameras that have no
Mhm.
like? Because my cell phone takes a better photo than these old point and shoot digital cameras do, because they want the image translated directly to the sensor, right? They don't want computational photography. They're like rebelling against that idea, and that's just what's always going to happen. And like you can't,
Mhm.
I don't know. And like you said, we're not on the corporate level. Those are the ones that are going to always be the true consumers.
Yeah,
So,
whether something lives or dies or continues to exist. Anyway,
uh,
we're definitely getting out of our lane. I feel.
yeah. This is what usually happens in hour
I'm
two.
happy to have a venue to talk about it because it is something that I do think about a lot, and it does pertain to bikes because you see it happen with bike stuff, right? And it's happening. I'm sure images of products and stuff like that that's being used.
So I'll think
Um,
about like trying to shorten a YouTube title tonight. I didn't do it, but I was like, man, I've got all these words and I want it to be more concise. And that's where ChatGPT would 100% like give me 10 options where I'd be like, and I wouldn't even like use one of their 10 options, but I would definitely pick between the 3 or 4. It's like brainstorming. And it's
yeah,
like,
for ideation. Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe that's not the right word for that. Sorry, I'm misusing that word. Sounds like that should be what that describes, but it might not be. Yeah. Anyway, any
Anyway,
other?
someone mentioned dried fruit, and that is one of my big, has always been one of my big things for rides, like figs.
Drive-through records?
Dried, yeah. But dried figs, like man,
I'm
that
listening
is
to
like
something on a ride.
a
Sorry, go ahead.
powerhouse. I love doing that, and then I'll still even mix them with some like scratch, like or some just gummies, and put them in one bag, and I'm on a long ride and just grabbing some dried
Oh, I thought
fruit.
you were talking about like drive-through food. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no, dried
Drive-through
fruit.
is a nutrition brand.
No, dried fruit.
Dried fruit. Okay, yeah, dried fruit. Great option. Just make sure it's not prunes, otherwise you're gonna have another Tim situation.
Yeah.
Another sheet at the sheets, or sheet before the sheets. Peanuts, also another good one that's also pretty much at every gas station is a good good one to go for.
2 for $99. I love the peanut thing. Yeah. But when you the way you said that too, have you ever seen Fear and Loathing? Peanuts, man.
Yeah.
That's one thing that'd be good for you right now. Like I just
I don't remember that.
that's when they're first walking into the bar in Vegas. And he said, Peanuts, man. That's one thing. Sorry.
Speaking of movies, we should like I think things are in the winter. We should plan another movie episode. I really have been chosen to get back into that. I've been saving some like Hard Miles. That person mentioned, I didn't realize what they're talking about. Now that I know what they're talking about, like that seems like a good movie to watch. Like I have things I've been saving so that we could do an episode on that. So maybe once writing settles down in the winter a little bit.
Yeah, I think Post Nutmeg would be good because like now I'm doing a bunch for the university, so I'm busy.
Yep.
This whole fall is going to be busy. Post Nutmeg, I think it'd be a great time to do another movie episode, like late November, like or early December. The other thing I think a good episode. Like, so tell me, maybe you would be the defender, I'd be the guy on the offensive one.
Tim thinks this is BS. I love it.
Yeah. Fucking through axles, they're so stupid. I fucking hate them. Like I hate them. I was just taking my tire out. My gunner tire went flat today, and I realized I just let the tire's worn out, whatever. So sealing isn't the problem anymore. And then I went to take it off, and I'm like, it's my only through axle bike. So I know to younger people, this is all they know, and mountain bikers, is all they know. And I'm like, I fucking hate these things. Like quick release makes so much more sense. So I think that might be a good topic, and you might be the foil.
100% the opposite opinion, and I could fill an hour with this. If you want, we can do a separate episode and save it because I have a lot of
yes.
great things.
So like, I think in two weeks out, I think the title is through axles are bullshit, but I'm
You're the
the
BS.
anti.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And my
good deal.
caveat will be like, because how you always had caveats, like when we did the front panniers or the
I already know what yours is going to be. Yeah.
the baskets. Mine would be like, unless you're a mountain biker, like, because I get like the rigidity for a mountain biker, like you're
Okay. I thought I have a different thing that I thought you were going to say. Okay.
no, yeah. My only thing with them is they are like destroying bikes down stuff that bikes were never made to be ridden on now because bikes are so
Mhm.
capable. So like the fact of having something so rigid makes sense. Beyond that, there's no fucking point. So yeah, we should do.
will happily disagree with you for an hour.
Yeah, yeah. And I thought so because
By the
I
way,
think
Naptown is on fire. I don't know who you are, Naptown.
no.
Chris, but
Oh yeah.
waiting for post nutmeg clarity.
After I burn the last brain cell.
Oh man, he's been on fire tonight. All his ones are good. I don't know who you are, but good job. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just saw that I
Very
my head. I had to address
fine.
it.
Yeah,
You were saying something I wasn't listening. What were you saying?
I think I'll save it, but yeah, I do think the thing, like I said, my disclaimer, like you always have one, with your like the
Yeah.
baskets. There are reasons for anything. Mine is like I will be like, you're a serious mountain biker, like you are going down stuff that a bike never should have gone down, but now bikes are so capable that you need something that protects that. Like, yeah, my whole thing would be like, I've dented a million rims before my through axle's never broken. So like, yeah, so we'll.
All right. Yeah, thanks. Talk about there. Speaking of baskets, though, so I did get a chance in person to see Nate Baker from Hush Money Bikes' basket. If you could call it that, it's not like a walled basket; it's like a very modern-y basket, and had some interesting stuff set up with it that was bordering on like, okay, that you're getting into territory now that I could get behind. He had like a little aero bars mounted on the front of it because he spoiler, or he will be on the he did the Pennsylvania Dirtbags overalls route, so he'll be in that. So whenever that video comes out, I'm sure it'll be highlighted, and then we can talk about it more once everybody's seen what I'm talking about. But I got to see it in person when I was out there in Lancaster. Had a nice little day. Went out to Hush Money, got the Wild tuned up, brought it home. That's the one problem with buying a bike 2 hours from a bike shop 2 hours away, is like I never got to take it in for like my. I know you don't buy a lot of new bikes, but if you buy a new bike, you usually have to bring it back in. They can tweak stuff, and after you build a bike, there's always some stuff that needs to get tweaked. So I never had to do that. So I brought it in for like it's kind of 1 year checkup. Well, I had a day off and rode around Lancaster. Had a great time. It's pickles, some mustard, some Amish pretzels. Great day. But actually, the thing I don't know if you saw me talk about this, but I've been like obsessed with the Coors Classic lately.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We've all noticed.
Fair enough. All right. But so there's this person and yeah. But I didn't, I was like, I guess from Googling enough stuff, like YouTube served me some stuff. There's one guy that has all like I guess it was ABC Sports would always put out like a 1 hour special after it with like really well done, edited, really well narrated coverage from like the early 80s is kind of not good as like a quick 20-minute thing, but then like starting in like 1984, the coverage got really good, especially through like 84 to 89. So I spent a lot of time watching those, and they actually. So one of the fun things, this ties back to an earlier episode. They were in, I think it was 83 or 84. They talked about the director from Breaking Away was at the Coors Classic working on a new bike film, American Flyer. So apparently that guy was either a consultant or somehow involved in American Flyers. FYI.
So it's just like, we need a version of this movie that has more awkward boobs in it.
Yeah. Man, but as an EF person, like seeing Davis Finney and Connie Carpenter, like, was pretty cool. The 7-Eleven team in general, like, did not. I always knew they were kind of a cool team, and I had heard some stuff about them, but like, didn't quite understand that they were amateurs. Also, when they were doing that,
of course,
which is wild. And then like, they really just had such a stacked team of like, because the Coors Classic was the movie makes it sound like it's a quick 3-day race. The Coors Classic is like 14 stages over 11 days, but they do multiple stages a day. Later years, it started in Hawaii, also went to
Wow.
San Francisco, where they would have a criterium at the Fisherman's Wharf, and then eventually ended up in Colorado, where then it did like most, a more like traditional stage race through like, with shorter transfers and stuff like that. But like the thing was, they would have like a hill time trial in the morning, followed by a full blown criterium in the afternoon, 2 stages in a day, and then go on to like a circuit race. And then they would have some other weird, like it was weird races. It wasn't just like point A to B stage races, a lot of circuit races. It was a lot of lap stuff. And then it was like criteriums. Like Davis Finney, who was a really good sprinter, obviously father of Taylor Finney. Like that was his specialty, right? So he was always winning those. And they had like a climber guy. They had like Ron Kiefel, who was kind of an all-arounder. Or maybe he was a hill climber guy. I get confused. But then like there was one year where Bernard Hinault and Lamond were there. So like the real pros had finally come out for one. I think it was Hinault's last race in the US, I want to say. Was pretty cool. But like he and Lamond were on the same team, essentially competing at the same time. That was like during that whole era where yeah. And that was kind of cool. And there was a weird thing because I guess the Coors Classic also used to be the Red Zinger Classic. So it was part of like Celestial Seasoning, and then it switched over to Coors at some point, but I cannot find any mention of really that race before. Not, I can't find any footage of it. And then there was the Red Zinger team, which had Lamond and and I cannot find that anywhere, anything really about that team. So there's definitely some like layers I got to dive deeper, but there were some really cool stories, including one where the race is going too fast. They didn't have like the downtown where the finish was cleared out they didn't have the cars cleared out yet. So they came into a downtown and there was still like full traffic on the course.
No way.
So they ended up like calling it like 3 miles or 3 kilometers out or something like that. But like they still were like basically like hotlining through traffic to get to the finish line because they didn't know that they were going to call it back then. So they were like riding through. It was really cool. If you just Google Coors Classic like 1984, I'm sure it's like the main one that comes up. They're about an hour long. Highly recommend. I also had John John actually volunteered to do we did a rip of the Coors Classic. And it's not really a rip. It's like an updated version of it. So it's like asymmetrical, has some other stuff on it, but it like is chill classic. But it's using like the colors and like some of the like the design sort of like language of the Coors Classic merch. So that's available for pre-order right now on my site. Sorry, shameless plug. If anybody looking for hats, plus all of our other hats, the place that I order hats from, they're digital, so they'll let me mix and match designs without any minimums. So if there's any hat of ours that you've ever liked, they're all up for pre-order now. Those should be in like late October. Should really trying to get them in for Nutmeg. I can't guarantee it, but that's the goal.
Nice. Yeah, I think what's the good bike shop in Brooklyn? They've been kind of using the Coors Classic logo in their race stuff for a number of years, and it's kind of similar. It's like they use like the fluorescent yellow type vibe that they had back then. Yep. What is the name of that bike shop? I can't. It's the dude who moved out and started a lay with.
King Cog.
King Cog. Yeah, their racers jerseys have always had kind of that, like a vibe that I think they kind of took from the Coors Classic. Like
I think I know what you're talking about. The colors are really good. It was funny because it's almost like colors you think of as 90s, but this was definitely like mid 80s. Yeah. I feel like they're a little bit, I don't know. I feel like some of the like 90s stuff is kind of getting overdone a little bit. So it's like a little bit, it's still wild and very colorful, but it's still kind of like refreshing. So I want to try to like play with those colors a little bit more. And see what we can come up with. But it's just a cool tour. And it's also like the height of US cycling at the time. Like Russians were there for the earlier parts of it. But like, at one point the 7-Eleven team had like 4 of the top 5 slots in the GC. It was just like Alexei Graywall, who's a bitch, by the way. I didn't realize how much, like, I know he won the Olympics or whatever, but like that dude is a bitch. But it was just like him surrounded by the 7-Eleven team. So, and then I started watching like PowerPoint presentations by members of the 7-Eleven team on like how the 7-Eleven team started. I've been down rabbit holes, man.
Yeah. And it's yeah. We'll leave it there. Yeah, I do the same thing. It's like, man, when I get into something, I am a total, I just absolute nerd about it. Like, yeah,
Yeah. Just keep going. Then there's just never like a bottom to it. I don't know. So,
and I
it's
still
fun.
think those are the coolest. Those fakely branded, those Eddie Merckx frames. Right before that, they were made by what's the American brand that was making them? Frame Builder still makes bikes. But they had to put, because Huffy was the sponsor, but they weren't Huffies. They were God,
Yeah,
what is it?
yeah.
It's an East Coast
Waterford,
brand.
was it?
Yeah, it's not Waterford.
No? Oh no, it's Sirota.
Sirota, yeah.
Yeah,
But they were paying Huffy on them, and
right.
those frames. Like when it comes to road bikes, those are, I think, my number one. If anyone was like, "Could you have one road bike?" And I'd be like, "It's the Andy Hampstead 711 team frame.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I
yeah.
would want." That's
Any
like the
Hampton,
most.
that's the other guy. Yeah, it was cool to watch.
He's the one. He's the only American to win a Grand Tour, right? He won the Giro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was who else was on that? Bob Roll was also, so it was cool to actually
Oh,
like
yeah,
see him
Bob
riding a
Roll.
bike. He was on the
Yeah.
711 team at one point too. So it was a blast from the past, like seeing all these like that, and there was like I'm gonna space on it now, but there was like a bunch of people. You're like you would hear a last name, you're like, oh, I wonder if that's so and so's dad, and then you go and look it up and be like, yep, sure enough, it was. So bike racing just must be one of those things that's like just like the genes. It's got to be in the genes.
It is. Like, that's what I always say when, like, I'll talk to people when I was a little bit younger, and they'd be like, "Oh, do you ever think of like racing?" And I'm like, "Let me explain to you what racing like looks. These are freaks of nature. This is not this is not like a democracy. Like, it's like
Yeah.
the Olympics. Like Michael Phelps has fucking webbed feet. Like, you know what I mean? It's like his lungs are like 4 times larger.
Double jointed toes and stuff.
I'm
Yeah.
making this up, but like his lungs are 4
No,
times
you're
larger
right.
than
You're
the
not wrong. I
average.
remember seeing that. Like he has like legitimately like the things on his hands are bigger than normal.
Yeah,
Like, yeah. He's genetically disposed to do
like a
that.
guy who wins the guy who comes in the last at the Tour de France is a genetic freak of nature. He's
Right.
not, you know what I mean? Like, come on. Everyone isn't Lance. You don't need to be Lance Armstrong to be a professional bike rider. But you do need to be a fucking freak. They test you. Like when you go to, like, if EF is looking for someone, like they take a Colombian like that, like Jonathan Vaughters is thinking like this guy might be able to, like, because EF's a low budget team, so they're just like the Cleveland Indians are Guardians now. They're looking for like, where can we find talent that is like undiscovered, because we don't have the money to pay like for the big name guys who already exist. They hook them up to machines and they see how much like oxygen their lungs can move. Like if your lungs don't move enough oxygen, it's like, nope, no chance. Like, you won a bunch of local races, you'll never be a pro rider. Like, this is not, this is a very professionalized, you know what I mean? This is F1.
Yeah.
This is,
I wonder if I feel like it must not have been like back then, and that might be another reason why the
No, it
80s
wasn't,
stuff is
yeah.
like appealing. Because they didn't have that tech. Like I remember the one year, because that was kind of a cool thing as you watch these, you could see, because they're still tech, right? It's just not tech in the way that we think of it now, but like disc wheels at one point like got introduced during the time trials, and they were like big deal, and like obviously Le Mans was like a time trial expert. It's like he brought some more like understanding aero and like the helmet and like things like that to it, so you could see in the later 80s like his impact started to have a thing on like the entire race. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
but they're still riding 10 speeds essentially. You know what I mean? Like with down tube shifter.
Yeah, it's a different world now. It's like, the sports science is there. Like the fueling and all that stuff is there. Like Phil Gaiman, who has like his YouTube channel, he always talks about, he's like, people think they're talking so much tactics into my radio. They're like, it's time to eat, it's time to drink, it's time to eat, it's time to drink. He's like, that's what we're getting told. Like on the stage in the Tour de France, they're telling you like, you haven't paid attention. You eat that gel, drink that water bottle. Like that's what you need to get to the finish at this extreme level of this sport. Like,
Did you watch the thing that came out? I think it was today, maybe yesterday, about the the Baltimore race that just happened.
I should have paid. When I knew they were bringing this world tour race to Maryland, I was like, awesome. maybe I'll even go. And then like as it happened, I've only watched Instagram stories. I did not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know a bunch of people that did go. The races came off really well, especially the women's race. But it was interesting hearing how they was less of the like, come on, you got to like, come on, Tade. Da, 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 da. It was like more of like just like actual coaching and like, okay, we're gonna need you to like go after this KOM because we need this person to chase and then make sure they chase and then do that. If they don't, this is what you're gonna do, right? So it was like way more calm and less of like, I feel like NBC just pumps it in when they're like on the giant mountain stages and they're just like pumping up the GC people. So it was actually a little bit more nuanced in terms of like what's actually going on the race radio. And then the incoming, it focused more on the incoming information from the riders also. So like Nielsen Powell was in it and he was like asking questions back to the car to get information for the thing. They're telling him like, it's a minute and a half up, there's already a second break off of that. There's no way to bridge it. Like just focus on the road in front of you. You're not going to like cover that. Just like stay in the peloton. The race will come back to it. Like very good. I felt like one of the better, once it got to the race, there was a bunch of stuff like about them just like riding around Baltimore and like talking about America. Cause a lot of these people on EF, it's the first time they were racing in America because they're Europeans who have been racing in Europe and have no reason to come over here. Right. But so it was like half of that. And then the actual racing part was really good. And the women's race came down to like a really close sprint finish between Allie Jackson. And I forget who won. It was somebody on the Canyon team. But anyway, but it was like a really cool like men's tactics sprint with like there's a group of four where there was like a lead out and like she didn't quite get around. She only came in second, but it was like really good. One of the better racing documentary things I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I need to go. I will definitely go back and check that out more because I've been thinking that, and it's great because I didn't actually look at who won, and like I watched the footage of Nelson.
Sorry to spoil it.
Yeah, but I also watched like Nelson when he was like running, and that like Taylor. I watched Taylor Finney's stories where he's talking about. He's like, oh, he's gonna Chris Froome it. He's just gonna run his bike down the street. Like, it was great. Like I was like, this is what I don't know. It's way more what racing should be, and it felt like it had those. It had the vibes of a spring classic mixed with like I don't know, because like when they do the world championships, there's no radios. And I think that's like it's a mistake. You're putting a bunch of people who are used to that out of that element. It's like, I don't know. I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's way purer, but it's like, no, because now you have to get a car up there to tell them that. Like, the information is still getting there. It's just in a convoluted way. It's like, come on, let's not pretend like we don't have the technology. Let's not pretend like races aren't what they are in the modern world. You know, like, so they're not self-supported. You know what I mean? We're not doing. Like, if you want to watch that, like, we'll watch the next Lachlan Morton documentary. You know, like, which is great. It's a different thing though. It's like,
So it's funny though because the other thing that was notable is that there's a race around here called the Bucks County Classic that was I guess the day after. So it was like they really benefited from that race because there was all these pros in town. So they had a really good pro field at the Bucks County Classic because it's only a few hours drive to Pennsylvania. So like they had a really strong race field turnout, which being a local crit promoter now, I have to pay attention to this stuff. But like, so Bucks County Classic is definitely a race that, like we're trying to like get to their level. I feel like they're doing it right and like still keeping like a cool hometown feel vibe to it. But it's definitely a bigger race at this point. But like we're sort of looking to them, and it was cool to like see them kind of get their flowers for a really good, cool like hometown style, race through a town. That they had all these like pros show up for it because of the.
It seems like it seems like in the 80s and maybe up into the early 90s, and then going way back, of course, this was a big part of a pro's existence, like especially in the U.S. where like World Tour racing doesn't happen. It was like you would go and try and win your local race because that was money in because there's big purses usually at these things, or decent purses. So it's like you go out, like you go back home between like the European races, and you're like, if I go out and win a bunch of these local races, I actually kind of make money off it too, like, and you don't always win them because it's like, man, there's some local guy who is a killer racer who is like out there and he's a better sprinter or whatever the race, profile might be,
or you didn't bring a team, right? Because that's the thing with a lot of these is if you don't have a team, you're kind of stuck versus, Good Guys Racing out of New York City brought 8 people to a race. So yeah, of course they finished 1-2. They had 8 guys working for the main guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like they killed it. Versus one person from EF comes out and like might not do that great because they're one person without a team around them to help get them where they need to be, or for them or help them sprint, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
if this is in Colorado and you're going to climb all the mountains, Nelson Powell is going to destroy you.
correct,
He is going to make you
I'm
look
talking
like
about
you
like
don't know.
local like 4-corner crits.
Yeah.
They're way
He's
more
gonna,
of a team sport than a
yeah,
mountain
he's going to
race.
make you look like you've never ridden a bike before. But yeah, you come
Yeah.
out to a race with people who are going to give you a draft. It changes the whole dynamic. That's what's, I don't know, getting some high level racing back in the U.S. That's what's so important about it, I think. Like,
And that I think was one of the cooler things. And I know that you and I are probably a minority in this space that also really into pro racing. But I wish I could have gone. I know some people that went. They had a really good time. It's a great race to watch. The rain though was insane. It was like borderline hail. Like it was crazy for a while. And there's cobble like that. Baltimore has cobbles.
Yeah.
Which is, it was funny because they were, I'm not ruining anything, but they were asking, interviewing some of the Europeans afterwards. They're like, that was harder than I thought. So I think there was like some respect kind of for racing over here now. So hopefully we'll see more of it. But I feel like, the Coors Classic is like, I feel like the last time, or you know what? Sorry, we can talk about this some other time. But Tour de Trump was a thing. You ever heard about that?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
2 years of that. Yeah, I think 2 years, right?
Yeah, I think the name changed and it became something else. But Tour DuPont, like we had a lot of races that were bigger. Tour California.
Yeah, so when I got back into following pro cycling, Tour of California was still going on, and not
for Utah, right?
Finney was riding it, but also who's the other EF rider who's now one of the coaches and a commentator? Doesn't matter. Anyways, Tour of Colorado, New Mexico, because there was still a number of things happening over here, and the last few years all ran on a budget, and then COVID ruined because the Quebec City and the Grand Prix Montreal and stuff were going on. They were like the big warm-ups for the World Tour, or for the World Championships. So like Peter Sagan and everyone were coming over and racing in Canada just like 2 weeks before the World Championships were going on. Those have come back, but they just haven't come back on the level that they were pre-pandemic. So, but the Tour of California drew it was great because you got to see younger American riders riding against World Tour pros, and
it's good for local economies too. It brings money, like it brings people to our town. They spend money at our restaurants and things. Like it's good to have these things regardless of whether you care about racing or think racing is bullshit. Like it is good for the local economies that are putting on these races. It generates a lot of revenue. It brings in people, it brings in tourism, and it's like for in a good way, not for something shitty. You know what I mean? Like, so we need this again. I don't know, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I think a lot of people think cyclocross is the savior of that, and maybe it is. I love my Woody Roach Clips is hosting one here in Akron.
They're all on the hill or throw the hill or whatever. Yeah, right.
We're gonna have vendors. People are gonna turn out in North Hill, a place they don't usually hang out. Cyclists also, that we talked about, some of the cyclists we don't like. Race focused people are gonna come to North Hill and be like, "Hey, this isn't that bad of a place." Like they're gonna look at hopefully local restaurants. They're gonna drive through town and whatever. So
yeah, maybe we'll talk some cyclocross next time too. We would start up around here. I've been doing the first week of 5th Street. I did awful. It was very muddy. Mud is not good for a big person. I was very sloppy and top heavy and couldn't really get that. I was very scared. Also was tried truly clipping in for cyclocross for the first time ever. And not like just on like chromes that also I had the option to clip in with like flip pedals, and it was awful. So I got to figure that out in the next 2 days, but I'll talk more about that in the future. Side note, I know we talked about this next year, not putting you on the spot, but I know that you usually do your pre-nutmeg thing. This thing would be a really cool thing if you can get to like the Allentown area by like 6 o'clock on the Thursday before for this. It is like the coolest rec league. First rule is like, don't be a dick. You can ride any single bike. This year, it was kind of cool because after now doing it a few years, I feel like, I don't know if it's me or the other people, but like there was a good 5 or 6 of us that were like not race people at all. There was somebody on like an old hard rock and our friend Robert that like, is 100% not a race person, but actually he did really good. have all been coming out to it. So we were sort of like making like kind of like a back of the pack crew kind of thing happening, which is really fun. So if you're in the area, also, I don't know where everybody's from, but like if you can get to Allentown on Thursday nights, 5th Street Cross is a really good time.
Cool. Yeah, I'll hit you up about that again because we have made no plans yet. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do this year.
Yeah, you guys can come back and stay at my house afterwards if you want, and then we can shoot up there. But you know, if you can get to that area and that by that time frame, it's a really good time. All the beer you care to drink.
Well, be careful what you wish for.
No. At the event, they is sponsored by New Belgium Brew or New Trail. I'm messing it up. Sorry, something Trail Brewing. So it's all literally all the beer you care to drink, and they also have Endo, the THC things there too. So yeah, you can get a good time.
I'll make a real mess of myself.
As long as somebody else is driving, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Should we
Anyway,
wrap this one up?
We're at 11. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. I think, well, if you're free 2 weeks out, why don't we plan to do it again, and maybe we'll talk about through axles.
Sounds good. I'll double check, but yeah, I should be good.
All right. Well, I'll hit you up before then. Either way, channel wise, streams. Oh, I do need to check because I have a number of things coming up. So
okay. I just checked. I'm good.
Yeah, I'll check. I'll hit you up. Maybe we go a week early, a week later. But yeah, I know I'm doing a bunch of sports stuff for high schools this year, so my schedule is all over the place. But we'll figure it out.
I'm pretty good almost all. I don't have any Tuesdays that I'm aware of that I can't make it. So if you need me, just let me know when you need me.
Awesome. All right, man. Always great chatting.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for hanging out. See you.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
this time.
Fitzwater photo.